hand in our marriage papers real soon with the guy I've been dating.
Wait, you're getting married? And since when have you been going out with anyone, Misty?
You know better than to say something like that. I'm old enough now to where I have to have a man by my side. And the man I've been dating is the same age as me, and he's a very cool-looking guy.
Well, congrats on finding a man to marry, Misty. I have always been wondering when the day would come that you'd be getting married. But now to actually hear from you that you are, I can't help but think about what's next. When are you handing in those marriage papers? And do you plan to have a wedding for everyone to come see you guys at?
Well, we plan to go to the city office very soon here. And the wedding will be happening sometime this year, we hope.
Well, being your mom, Misty, I've been dreaming of seeing you in a wedding dress. And so as your mom, I've done everything I could to raise you without a father here to help, and I'm so excited to hear that my dreams will finally come true. I'll try my best to support you with anything you need, even if I can't offer much. But I'll do everything to get you as nice of a wedding as you want. Before I do anything else, though, I'd really like to meet your soon-to-be husband. At this point, I really need to know who the man is, and that's why I need to see him before we begin preparing.
You don't have to worry about meeting him. I'm not planning on having him come back to your place any time in the future.
Huh?
You actually think I'd bring him to that rundown shack you're living in? And I already told him that you don't really care to see him much, and that there's no need in him going out to see you. You should just be happy that I'm allowing you to come to my wedding, and then after that, you can leave the two of us alone.
Wait a second, Misty. What are you talking about? I get that this place is pretty old and has seen better days, but I've made sure to keep it clean and safe. And can you tell me why you think I don't care to see him? Why would you tell him a lie like that?
Huh? Well, what about that was a lie? I'm not really sure what you think about me right now, but I actually hate you a lot, Mom. And I feel that you won't need to waste your time seeing my man. And so that's why I've told him that you don't want to see him, because I don't want you seeing him. So it's not really a lie, right?
What?
To tell you the truth, I didn't even want to tell you about us getting married or about having you come to the wedding. But he did tell me that that was going a bit too far, and that I needed to at least allow you the joy of seeing us marry. And that's why I'm allowing you to come, even though I hate your guts. And that should be enough for you to be thanking me right now, right?
Wait, though, Misty! Why are you acting like this now? What happened to you? What do you mean you hate your own mom's guts? What did I do to you that caused you to start thinking that way? Because I thought that I was doing a good job of showing you how much I care about you. Why do you hate me so much?
Shut the hell up, you old hag! You don't have the right to celebrate me now. It's because of you bringing me into a poor household without a father that I've been living such a troubled life. And a mother that thinks it's okay to raise her daughter like that deserves to be hated.
Excuse me?
Alright. When you come to my wedding, don't you dare say a single word to anyone. I don't want to have to lose my wedding because you decided to talk without me allowing you to. And when it comes to my fiancé and his family, you don't have to bother yourself with trying to find them and talk to them. I just want you to sit there and shut up while I have my special day.
Hey, really, hold on for just a second. What has actually happened to you? I have no idea why you think that's a good reason to hate me so much. And what do you mean, a poor household? What about our family has been without enough money to live a good life? And just because I'm a single mother doesn't mean that I've troubled you in any way, or at least I didn't mean to.
Seriously? You have no right saying that to me after not allowing me to go overseas for school. And when it comes to wanting to go on trips to Hawaii with you, you never bothered taking me. In other words, you never gave a crap about me.
Huh? What trips to Hawaii? And when you say overseas for school, Since when were you ever asking me about stuff like that?
My man told me all about this stuff. He said to me that there's no other reason for it besides you being poor, that I couldn't go overseas for school or to places like Hawaii on vacation.
Huh?
The man that I'm planning on marrying, he's super rich and from a family of rich people. From what he's told me, his parents run a very well-known company, and in a little while longer, he's expected to take over that company.
Wow, is that so?
At the moment, he's working for another company, learning about how to run a company of his own and the economics of it all. And it was at that company that him and I met and started to date. But starting to date a man like him made every day hell for me. I just knew that he would judge me all the time because I've had to grow up in a poor household with just you as a parent.
Huh?
I bet he still judges me for it, Mom! Unlike me, when he was in high school, he was allowed to go study abroad for school. And when it comes to where his family took him on vacation, it'd be places like Bali and Hawaii. Unlike his family, mine has been such an embarrassing mess that it's driven me crazy having to think about you being my mom.
Well, when you compare any other family to a family such as his, they will all look as though they don't have much money. But I'm telling you that we have had it lucky being able to live in such a decent house. And to tell you another thing, I've worked my butt off to make sure that we had the money to live a happy life here. Even though it was impossible for us to go to Hawaii, I still made sure to take you to all sorts of cool places closer to our house. And on your birthdays, I made sure to get you everything you ever asked me for, right?
And what about that means we have been living a happy life? His family goes to all sorts of cool places close to his house every month. And on his birthdays, he gets to have his own private chef come in and make him anything he asks for, right in front of his eyes. When you compare our family to that, we are the lowest of the low and considered piss poor. And you yourself are a piss poor excuse for a mother.
What?
If I could have at least had a father. I'm sure that he would have done enough to stop us from being so poor and made sure that we could take more vacations to places like Hawaii. But it's because you divorced him when I was so young that I've had to live with you all by myself and never experienced anything besides troubles.
It's the other way around, Misty. If your father was still around, you would have had to suffer a lot more than you think you have, Ben. The whole reason for the divorce was to protect you.
Seriously?
Your father was a heavy gambler and would use up all our money to try and win it big. He was the kind of man that would spend every last penny on slot machines, even when it meant us not being able to buy fresh food for a whole month. So to protect you from a man like that, I left him. If it wasn't for me making that difficult choice to save you, then who knows what kind of horrible life we'd be living in right now.
Stop trying to lie about my father like that. If you'd never forced that divorce when I was so young, then we could be living a wonderful life right now. I know right now that Dad is a way better person than you are and is very successful.
What?
Did you think that after he was forced to leave us, he'd just stop trying to talk to his daughter? Well, I'll lay it out for you. Right now, my father is an owner of his own business. His company isn't as amazing as my fiance's, but it's still a whole lot better than the company you own.
That man has his own business? And another thing, how do you know that he has his own business? Have you actually been talking with him again recently?
When it comes to business owners, they all happen to know one another pretty well. And so somewhere in there, they heard about how I've been dating the son of a CEO, and the news spread along to Dad. And that's why one day I got a message from Dad talking about his life.
Don't tell me that you've started to see him in person as well, right?
Dad is such a perfect father! He was even kind enough to bring me to such a fancy restaurant that they had a dress code in place. He ordered all our food like he knew every detail about the dishes, and he was even kind enough to give me a present. Unlike you, he's the best parent a girl could ask for.
That man did all that for you?
Stop trying to make him look bad because of his past. Everyone has to go through a point in their life where they become addicted to gambling. Normally, as his wife, you should have helped him get over that low in his life. But instead, you selfishly divorced him and made him deal with all that pain on his own. If it wasn't for you being such a selfish hag, then my life would be so much better now. Heck, you could have at least let me go see him every other week after the divorce, and I could have had access to all his money. It's all your fault that my life sucked so much.
Are you kidding me?
If you understand now why I hate you so much, shut the hell up and be quiet when it comes time for my wedding.
Misty, wait a second. What the heck was that whole speech about just then? What you said in front of everyone? Why would you ever read a letter like that to me in front of everyone saying that you want to cut ties to me?
I'm happy to see that you obeyed the promise we made and stayed quiet the whole time. But what you heard today from me was true, and that's why we are done here. After today, you and I are no longer mother and daughter.
All of that was not a good enough reason to want to leave me, though. I get what you were saying to me before as reason for wanting to hate me, but cutting ties to me because of all that? And saying that to me in front of everyone at your wedding?
What's so wrong with that? I was just telling everyone the facts about you. I told them that you didn't let me study abroad, which left me without a perfect education. And told them that while everyone was out having a great time with their families, you'd made me work a part-time job. And when it came to the money I made from a part-time job, you made me give it all to you. I also enjoyed finishing that speech off by saying that life with you has been hell and I want it to end. Now everyone is on my side and asking for things between us to be over for good.
Huh?
After having to hear all of that from me in front of everyone at my wedding, that should be enough to get you to give up on me, right? And even if that isn't enough to get you to leave me, everyone hates you now. So you have no other choice.
And those are your reasons for giving such a cruel speech about me in front of everyone? You must have no idea the amount I have sacrificed for you. Because all I saw from you today was you making up a bunch of events to make it seem as though you were the only one suffering.
Huh?
You never even once told me that you wanted to study abroad or anything like that when you were in school. And from what I remember, your scores in school were too low anyway for them to give you permission to go study overseas.
And my scores were low because you made me work part-time. You made me work after school every day because you didn't have enough money for us, and it's because of me having to work all evening that I never had time to study.
You're wrong, Misty. The only reason you had to work a part-time job was because every month you'd spend around $5,000 on online games. I told you plenty of times to stop spending all that on your phone, but you never listened. And that's why, to make up for all that money you kept spending, I had you work. You are pretty much an adult anyway when you're in high school, so you should know better than to be spending that much of my money on your phone. You needed to learn that you have to earn the money you want to spend on entertainment. If it wasn't for me forcing you to start working a little to make up for all that money lost, then we actually wouldn't have had enough money to live decent lives.
No matter what the reason was for that, you forced me to work and took all the money I made. Normal families would have been fine with me spending that much money on things that made me happy. But instead, my mom didn't even bother to let me have my fun, instead threatening me by saying that we wouldn't have enough money for food because of my spending habits. And when I told Dad about all of this, he said you treated me like an animal. He said that had he been around when I was spending that much, he would have continued to pay for everything for me.
You're back to talking about that man?
Well, whatever. Just know that after today, you and I are done. I struck out terribly having to be raised by a failure like you. Well, now I'm not going to stick around for when you get old and need my help. And you can kiss seeing me ever again goodbye.
Are you really okay with that?
You know for a dang fact that I am, you old hag. All you are to me now is a waste of mental space.
calling your only parent a waste of mental space, huh?
I still have Dad around to care for me when I need it. So I'd much rather have my mind thinking about him over you. Even tomorrow, he's willing to come to town to let me see him again, and we promised that. He said he wants to come and celebrate my marriage as well. I wonder what kind of gift he's gotten me this time. Maybe a brand new car.
Either that or he'll be handing you an IOU. He must know by now that you're married to a very wealthy man and will be coming to get his hands on some of the money.
Huh?
For a man that never paid any of his daughter's child support, it's pretty brave of him to come back to see you again. Tell him that I said that when he comes to see you tomorrow.
Hold on 1 second, Mom. Why would Dad ever come to me to hand me an IOU? And wanting to borrow money from me? No way. Right now, Dad is a CEO himself and can afford anything he wants.
I'm sure that he's some kind of CEO. Now I'm going to listen to what you've said and make sure that I never come around you ever again. Go ahead and enjoy the rest of your life.
Mom, come help me. When I went to go meet with Dad, he had a really scary dude with him. And he didn't even introduce himself to me before he started to yell to me about why Dad has borrowed so much money from him. That scary dude told me that Dad is over $200,000 in debt with him, and that he needs that money back right now. He even told me that I'm going to be the one to pay it back since Dad has nothing.
Oh my. Seems that gift Dad was bringing you for your wedding turned out to be a bluff. I'm surprised to hear that even Dad thinks a gift like that is okay to give to a young wife.
How the hell is something like this a gift? And actually, what the hell does he mean Dad owes him over $200,000? What the hell was Dad doing to get here?
I'm pretty sure that the scary dude explained that to you when he was telling you everything else, right?
He's so scary that most of what he said didn't even enter my ears. I freaked out so much before he could even finish that I ran to a public bathroom nearby and I'm currently hiding in it. Can you tell me what the actual hell is going on right now?
Even if I tried my best to explain, I've only heard rumors about your dad. From those rumors, though, it's thought that your dad runs a pretty risky business. Apparently, his company sells commodities at extremely high prices to people that need them desperately, which forces them to end up paying. At first, a company like that will make bank, forcing its customers to pay that much, but the company won't last long. And from other things I've heard, his company is currently going bankrupt. And that's probably what led to him having to borrow a lot of money, trying to save his skin.
You have to be lying, right? How could all that be true when only recently he took me to that really nice restaurant with him? And he was able to give me such a high-brand present? Could he really afford all that for me when his company is going under?
Well, when you stop to really think about all of this, his timing for coming back to talk to you is a little too spot on. The moment he learned about you marrying the son of a CEO, he started to get back in touch with you again. I'm sure that his only goal in getting close to you was to get that money.
What am I going to do, Mom? I really want to run away from here right now. Can you come out here and help me get away?
I'm sorry, Misty. We made it pretty clear yesterday that neither one of us would ever be seeing one another again, right? So I won't be able to come save you, therefore you'll need to figure something out for yourself.
What?
You told me that you ended up with me as the worst parent, right? But don't you worry, as you have yourself a wonderful husband now with all that money. I'm sure that you can just go and ask him to pay off your dad's debts, right? Or, if the man is as scary as you say, you can just get a lawyer to go and deal with him for you from your husband.
And I normally would want to go ask my husband to help me out here, but right now is not the best time to be doing that. I just got a message from my husband only a few seconds ago, and he told me that he wants the two of us to get divorced already.
Huh? He wants a divorce now? Didn't you guys just have your wedding yesterday?
And yesterday I gave that speech saying that I wanted to cut ties with you, right? Well, apparently his parents and him weren't too happy to hear that from me. And so they went ahead and looked into me a bit more to see if I really was living a life in hell with you. And when they did that, they started to learn about my poor grades in school and about how I had spent so much money on my games. And after learning all that, my husband told me that you were nothing more than an average mother to me, and that the hell I was living in was my own fault.
My oh my. It's crazy to think that right after you learned about your father's debt and how he needs you to pay it off, your husband is ready for a divorce. This must really be a tough spot for you.
Please, Mom, come help me! I don't want to have to pay over $200,000 to that scary dude, and I don't want to get divorced!
Well, you can tell me that all you want, but I can't do anything for you. You told me that you wanted to cut ties to me, right? So stop trying to take all you said to me back now just because you need my help again.
I believe that we met for a brief second yesterday, but this is your son-in-law's mother, Daisy. Nice to have met you.
Nice to have met you as well. But as you heard yesterday, I'm no longer really your son's mother-in-law anymore after my daughter cut ties to me.
And about that, I think what your daughter did was just tragic. After taking the time to look into you guys a bit more, we learned that you actually didn't do anything wrong whatsoever to her. Yet for some reason, she believes she can talk about you in such a nasty tongue?
I just heard about a lot of this from her a little bit ago. And from what she was saying, your son is planning to divorce her?
I'm sorry that my son is asking for something so depressing as divorce just after the two of them had their wedding. But after hearing about the way she spoke about you, even though her past was her responsibility, we have no patience in waiting around for her to grow up. I hope you can understand that.
I do understand why your son wants the divorce. Misty did all of this to herself, so she really does need to learn, one way or another, not to act like a spoiled brat. But I wonder why, after hearing her give that speech, you guys chose to look into her. I really thought that everyone at the wedding would believe what she was saying and be on her side.
Well, you and I are both mothers, right? I understand the troubles of having to raise a daughter and that it must be way more difficult when you have to do it alone. There is also one other thing that I never mentioned to Misty. That's that her father used to cause me a lot of headache in the past.
Huh? What do you mean by that?
Well, right after Misty and my son got engaged, a man with the same last name as her came to our house looking for her. When he showed up, he told me that we had to make sure that his daughter became my son's wife. And once he told me that, he handed me an envelope full of cash as a payment in advance for getting our son to stay with your daughter.
You're lying. That man actually went ahead and did all of that to you?
Of course I told him I didn't want his money. And I wasn't going to try and stop my son from marrying Misty or anything. But when I told him that I didn't want his money, he told me that it was actually to pay for us to later take good care of him after Misty became a part of the family. However, after hearing that speech from Misty at her wedding, the three of us all lost our love for Misty at that moment, knowing that she'd be nothing but trouble like her father.
So that's what ended up happening. I don't even know how to apologize for the troubles my daughter and ex have caused.
You don't have to apologize for anything. At this point, we are going to be saying goodbye to her as our daughter-in-law, and she already cut ties to you. So she's just a stranger at this point to all of us. If anything, think of this as a way of completely saying goodbye to those two. You are finally free from them, and should look forward to a life of relaxation from now on.
Thank you so much, Daisy. Just hearing that from you now has lifted a lot of weight off my back.
What am I going to do, Mom? He actually left me like he said he would. And when I tried to get them to listen to me, they wouldn't have it and told me to go away. They told me that they won't be allowing anyone into their family that they can't trust. And that they won't allow me to be their son's wife when all I do is complain and ask for help from them. His parents and him have already filed the divorce, and there's nothing I can do now.
And so from now on, you're completely alone. Must hurt knowing that they left you like you left me.
You don't have to say something like that to me now. Just come here and get me. I already tried once to get back into your house, but you never came out to get me. Why not? Hurry up and unlock the door so I have a place to sleep tonight. Stop trying to bully me and open the dang door.
Oh, for goodness sake, you went back to that old house? I'm sorry, but I've already moved out of there. So I'm no longer in that house anymore.
Huh? You moved out?
Well, you were the one that cut ties to me, right? And since I didn't have a daughter anymore, I was in that place all by myself. But even though I was alone, there were still a lot of memories of us trapped in that place that haunted me. So I did my best to forget about you, and that meant getting out of there. And just like that, I'm now having a great time living on my own.
If you were going to do something like that, you should have told me sooner. I'm going to come to your new place now, so tell me the address.
Huh? Why would I tell some crazy stranger the address to my new house? I don't want you back in my life, and especially not back living with me.
Huh?
You and I are no longer family anymore, so this is acceptable to think, right? You are no longer my daughter. Just a stranger now. So I'm not telling you a thing about my new life besides that it has nothing to do with you.
Well, wait, Mom? I just lost my husband and now have no place to go to anymore. Your cute little girl is in need of some help right now and you're not going to come save her?
I already told you that I don't have a daughter anymore. But you do have a father around you still, right? And he's entrusted you with paying off his $200,000 debt, so there must be something between you both, right? The fact that he's made it this far with that kind of debt means he'd be the perfect person for you to ask for some help from. Having a man like him around to father you again after being through the worst of it himself would be the perfect thing for you.
There's nothing perfect about any of that. All he's been trying to do is get me wrapped up in his awful life.
But even after all the years I spent raising you, you chose to keep him as your father while throwing me away, right? So you can have a great life with him now, Misty. I've got to get back to living my wonderful life as a single woman now, and I hope things go well for you soon, just like me. After that, Misty started to freak out, worrying about how her dad's debt would soon affect her, and even quit her job to run and hide. But no matter where she tried to run and hide, my ex seemed to still be hot on her trail. And when he did finally catch her, he started to call her a failure for not being able to stay married to the man that had all that money, and forced her to start working for him. Now, not only was Misty forced to start working for her dad to help him make money, but her friends started to find out as well about the debt. And not just the debt, but about the divorce as well, and began to spread rumors about her. And soon those rumors began to pick up pace and spread like wildfire. As for what's happened with me after all of this, I've just been living the good life as a single, middle-aged woman. I had to sacrifice a lot of my life raising Misty all by myself for a long time, but comparing the life I had raising her, my life all alone now is 10 times better.